everyone! In this video today, I want to show you all how to make this sort of staggered or glitched arrowhead friendship bracelet. It looks even almost like a sort of stacked arrowhead where the colors don't perfectly match up with each other. They're sort of, staggered. And I thought this was such a unique design. Immediately when I saw it, I wanted to make it. And even crazier, this is a 16 strand bracelet. Fun fact, if you didn't already know, I actually really don't like making thicker bracelets. So the fact that I did make this one and enjoyed making it so much definitely says some really great things about this pattern. If you want to learn how to make this super awesome bracelet as well, then keep on watching. So like I said before, this bracelet does consist of 16 strings, and you can see the way I have it taped just to make it easier to see. This is a mirroring pattern, so I have 8 colors here and 2 strings of each of my colors, which makes 16 strings. And you can see from the middle here going out, I have my strings ordered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And as far as measurements go, the majority of people seem to measure their strings roughly a meter or 40 inches. And I don't really measure my strings that long, but having that extra length definitely helps just to be on the safer side. So this pattern at a glance definitely does not look very easy, especially because it has all of the 4 knots. But as I was working up this bracelet on my own, I found a really easy way to sort of break up the sections and looking at it in a different way that helped me really kind of memorize this as well. But it does help that this pattern on Bracelet Book has the full color changing order for you, so if you do need to follow it all the way down, it's there for you. So you can see I did double triangle ends for this pattern. You can also do regular triangle ends, or you can just have a knot tied up at the top and start it that way. But no matter what you do, we are starting in the center of the pattern, looking at our first 4 colors from inside to out. We are going to take our middle 2 strands and we're just going to make a very small diamond. So you'll take your middle 2 strands and you'll tie a knot with them. I am just doing a forward knot here, but you can make whichever knot you want. And with the left string of these 2, we're going to do a backward forward knot onto the string to the left of it. And then to the right, we are going to take the string and do a forward backward knot onto the string to the right of it. And then you're going to close that diamond up by taking your middle 2 strands again and tying a forward knot. And then with the second color, which will be the next string from your middle 2, we are doing forward backward and backward forward knots and then bringing it back to the middle. So with the left strand, you are going to do a backward forward knot onto the string to the left of it. And then you'll bring it to the middle, which means you'll take the string to the right of it and you'll do a forward knot. And then on the right side, you are going to mirror that. Take your second colored strand, which will be the second from the middle, and do a forward backward knot onto the string to the right of it. And then you'll want to bring that to the middle as well. So with the string on the left, which will be this first color here, do a backward knot. And then you'll take your 2 middle strands and tie a forward knot with them. And then with your third color, you are going to repeat that same thing. So it'll be your third string from the sort of middle here. And again, repeat that whole process. Do a backward forward knot onto the string to the left of it. And then you'll do forward knots onto the next two strings to the right of it to bring it to the middle. And then on the right side, you'll mirror that. So take your third color on this side, do a forward backward knot onto your next color in line, which will be the string to the right of it. And then you'll do backward knots onto the next two strings to the left of it to bring it over to the middle. And then you'll connect your two middle strands with a forward knot. And then to finish up this sort of diamond portion of the bracelet, you're going to repeat the same steps again with your fourth color. You'll do your backward forward knot, bring it to the middle, and then your forward backward knot, bring it to the middle, and then connect the two with a forward knot. And now we are going to move on to our sort of left and right portions of the arrowhead. The knotting is only slightly different. It's actually really easy to follow once you see the steps the first few times. So we are still moving on in our color order, but let's go ahead and just focus on the left side for now to make this a little bit easier to look at and not get confused by. You're going to take your next color, and you can see that it's the one that has been knotted onto the very first time. So we have our fifth color here, or you can also look at it as your fifth strand because this is a color changing pattern. You're going to take that string and you're pretty much repeating the same thing as we did with the previous three colors, but your last knot is going to be different this time. You're going to take your fifth strand here, and you're going to do a backward forward knot onto the string to the left of it, which should be your next color after this one. We have 4 strands here in line. These next 3 are all going to get forward knots. And then on your last string, you want to do a forward backward knot. And then with our very last string here that we knotted onto, we can just put that off to the side because we won't be knotting onto it anymore. And then you'll want to come back to your next color in line, or your next string in line, if you want to look at it that way. And you're going to repeat this whole thing again. Do your backward forward knot onto the next string to the left of it. And then do your forward knots onto these next 3 strings here. Do your forward backward knot onto your technically last string here. And then you can put this string off to the side. And then we're going to repeat this one more time with our next string in line. And again, do your backward forward knot onto the string to the left of it. And then you'll do 3 more forward knots. And then on this last string here, you'll do a forward backward knot. Now we are going to be pulling from the outermost left side for the next 4 rows. So you'll take your outermost left strand, and the rule is still going to apply, but you'll notice as we move on, your string count in the middle is going to get a lot smaller. With this strand, you're going to do 3 forward knots onto the next 3 strings to the right of it. And then on this last one here, you will yet again do a forward backward knot onto it. And then take that string that we knotted onto, put it off to the side, and repeat this again. Take your outermost left strand, but you'll see now we only have 3 knots left. So this time, you're only going to do 2 forward knots onto the next 2 of the strings to the right of it, and then on your final string, you'll do a forward backward knot. And then again, that final knot that we did on the string here, put that off to the side. And now we come back to our newest outermost left strand. And this time, you can see, we are only going to do a forward knot onto the string to the right of it, and then a forward backward knot onto the next one. And then again, the string we knotted onto goes off to the side, and now you see we only have 2 strings left, which means you are going to take your outermost left strand and you are just going to do a forward backward knot onto that final string. That is the whole left side complete. Go ahead and take this chunk of 8 strands, put them off to the side, because we are going to go to the right side now and we are going to repeat all of that, but this time we're mirroring it. So looking up at our very first chunk up here, you'll pick up the string that was knotted onto the very first time, or you can look at it as your 5th string. because it is your 5th color right now, but like I said before, color changing, all that fun stuff. You are going to take that string and first you will do a forward backward knot now onto the string to the right of it. And then you will do backward knots now onto the next 3 of your strings to the left of it. And then when you get to this final 4th string here, you are going to do a backward forward knot. And that base strand that we did our final knot on goes off to the side so that we won't knot onto it later. And then you'll come back to the next string that we knotted onto the very first time, and you're going to repeat that sequence again. Do a forward backward knot onto the string to the right of it. And then again, do backward knots onto the next 3 strings to the left of it here. On the 4th one, you'll do a backward forward knot onto it. And then that base strand gets put off to the side. And then one more time, repeat that process with the next strand in line. And then with the next 4 strands, we are going to pull from the outermost right side. We have 4 strings left here, so we are going to do 3 backward knots onto the next 3 strands to the left of it. And then on this 4th and final one in the section here, you will do a backward forward knot. Put that base strand off to the side. Pick up your next outermost right side color. And since our strings are getting smaller, you are only going to do 2 backward knots onto the strings to the left of it. And then on this 3rd one here, yet again, do a backward forward knot. And then put that base strand off to the side. Come back to your newest outermost right strand. And this time you will just do a backward knot onto this string to the left of it. And then on the 2nd one, do a backward forward knot. And then put that base strand off to the side. And now that you are left with 2 strings here, take your outermost right strand and just do a backward forward knot. And that is how you segment knot this staggered arrowhead friendship bracelet, at least in the quickest way that I could find. If you are working it up and you find that there's a more efficient way for you to knot it, that is the beauty of segment knotting. You can just pick out structures and knot based off of that. But this is the easiest way for me to do it personally, so I wanted to teach that. And you can see once you come back to the middle here, the colors are completely different, so it is easier to break up the bracelet in sections like that. Look at your first 4 colors from the middle, no matter what colors they are. Do that section and then move on to your left and right section where you do the same on both sides but mirrored. And when you look at it that way, it makes patterns like these a lot easier to work up. So thank you all so much for watching this video today. I really do appreciate all of the support that you guys give me on the channel here. I really hope you enjoyed this pattern today, and I will see you in the next one.